So, when the whole thing ends, I never spoke to you guys about it, right? I could have come right out. I'm sitting in this very studio when I did Ariel's show. I could have ended Ariel's show and came and spoke to you guys directly and made a piece that would have done exorbitant numbers. But I didn't like that it happened. I didn't know what was going on emotionally or in his personal life. I felt like that wasn't him. And people are allowed to have a bad moment, so I never spoke to him. I assumed when I was doing that he also would not speak about it. That he would not go on and capitalize. I mean, at the end of the day, I was a guest. I gave up my time. He was paid to be there. There's a way he has to treat me. I'm his guest. That isn't what happened, though. He made numerous pieces about it. And I don't know that is bad. It won't change the fact.
All right. Sorry about doing all the videos in the car and in the dark and whatnot, but only get so many daylight hours now that it's fall, and they're all while I'm working, so I'm sacrificing for y'all. It's all about sacrifice. Do all these videos off the top for y'all. So give the guy a subscription, a like, and a comment. Come on now. So Chael Sonnen's finally done a response to the aftermath of the heated argument that him and Ariel got in a couple days back. Ariel's done a couple of Weasley videos about it, kind of defending his position. So then Chael Sonnen just in the last couple hours, I forget when he released it, but he just released a video finally.
Didn't go well, and Ariel's my friend. I mean, you do have to understand that. Like, if friends fight, if you're truly friends, you get over the fight. And Ariel and I were having a debate. It was a very heated debate. And within the debate,
responding to the situation, his response to the argument, I think is what the piece was called. And it started off with him kind of giving lots of credit to Ariel, and giving a little bit of context on their friendship and how far back they go, having a friendship that's over a decade.
That's well known. That's who I am. That's what I do. I'm very consistent with it. Ariel is a journalist. And a journalist, you can just raise your hand and say you're a journalist, right? I'm a journalist. But he really is. He won the award 13 times. The award for 2023 will be given out in 1 month. I suspect he will win it for his 14th time. But he also went to college and got a degree in journalism. It's not just something he went into or a column he wanted to be in, so he raised his hand and put him there. I share that with you because when I work with Ariel, he is accurate. If he's not accurate, he will disclose that up front as a way of remaining accurate. He will talk about rumors. He will, but he'll use that word. If he tells you something, this is what it is. He's reporting something. He's right. And on the very few instances where he's not right, he thought he was right. He vetted it. He had very good sources. I mean, but this is the Ariel I know. So one of the things that threw me off, in the opening line, Ariel said it was reported that Francis made between $10 and $20 million. $10 million for the gig, but then with back-end money from pay-per-view sales, upwards of another 10. And I said, Ariel, that has not been reported. And then I challenged him. And Ariel has the ability within his show to do a Google search and then throw it up on the screen. He has that ability, so I challenged him to do it. And I even said to him, Ariel, if this was posted by somebody's Twitter account, some random person of the 2 billion people that have access to Twitter, if they posted it on Twitter, I will swallow my words. If this is on a chat room, on a thread, on the underground forum, like if this has been stated anywhere that the internet can find, I will concede defeat. Which isn't what most people would do. They would, oh, check the source. Oh, who's that? Oh, that's not reliable. Like, right when they get the answers they don't want. My statement was very simple and very broad. That has not been reported. Go online right now and pull that up. And I was stunned when he said it, because that's just not how he does things. So he then comes and says, yes, it was reported. I said, prove it. Go find it. Show it. Show it to me right now. And he says, it was reported by me. I said it. I said, oh, wow. Now you've really proven my point. My entire point of it hasn't been reported, is that you misspoke. And if you didn't misspeak, then you misled, which means you misreported. It's just not something he would do. And then he says that he reported it.
Having a friendship over a decade long, you know, and the fact that it could probably withstand an argument and stuff like that. So the way the piece started off, I wasn't too excited. It sounded like he was just going to kind of smooth over the whole thing. But then, in true Chael Sonnen fashion, he did the old switcheroo. Did an old 180 on us, and he kind of pointed a little bit of a light on the fact that Ariel had already done a few weaselly pieces. You know, the fact that their friendship had just taken the biggest blow ever, and then Ariel decided to cast a light on it and tried to get some views right away. He just thought that was kind of shady a little bit, because Chael had continued on without bringing any extra attention to it. You got to watch the piece. You got to watch the video.
At the gate, that it wasn't positioned to do well. And that's very important to understand if you're trying to heap praise onto Francis, and I was. I was there to celebrate what Francis had done. And also try to break down, how did he do it? How did a guy with no experience just beat up the greatest to have ever done it? The greatest heavyweight ever. If Ali was here, he would tell you Fury's the greatest ever. It's a size issue. I mean, just purely on the size of the way that big man moves. Mike Tyson, George Foreman, these guys would concede and go, no, it's Tyson Fury. Klitschko himself, who lost to Tyson Fury, would tell you it's Tyson Fury. Anthony Joshua would not concede you it's Tyson Fury, but in back rooms will not sign a contract to fight. Right? I mean, it's a really special thing. But a reasonable person would know that it didn't do well, because there was no anticipation going into it. There was no expectation going into it that it was going to be anything but a squash match. Not to mention, it came with the highest price tag I've ever paid for. I've never been asked to pay $80 for any pay-per-view. And then you have the off time, which is 11 in the morning where I am. Okay. So you just know, right? You just know. And it was very weird that he took this position. Very strange. And when he was taking it, he was doing it with an overlay of sticking this up Dana's ass. So when I came in with correct information, which is it was an awesome competitive treat. Right? When you get something you are not expecting, when you think you're partying with $80 and the walkouts are going to be longer than the match itself, which was a problem that followed Mike Tyson around. Mike Tyson was having a hard time selling pay-per-views because he was getting rid of everybody in the very first round.
Like all Chael Sonnen videos. But yeah, he brings up some good points that he didn't want to bring any extra attention to the argument, but Ariel didn't seem to have a problem with it. Just kind of shady, right? A little bit weaselly. But yeah, I did a video saying that one of three things can happen, and that is still completely viable. So Chael Sonnen did mention that he hadn't gotten an apology from Ariel, so that was kind of like a little bit of a jab, I think. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna get an apology from Ariel Helwani, but that is still a possibility, I suppose. Who knows what he'd hold hostage with that apology, but so we can get an apology, or we can get a wash where Chael Sonnen's basically just going to wipe his hands with the whole situation. Or the way it's looking, what I always hoped for, we might just get our little media war. Because the way Chael left off that video, the way Helwani's been acting lately, like Chael also said that maybe Helwani's going through something, which he possibly could be, but that's another little jab at him too, just at his character and everything, you know what I mean? Kind of defending his character, also kind of attacking his character, right? So
shouting and Ariel, me screaming, I finally had to go. And I gotta tell you, when somebody hangs up, or you're on a phone call and somebody hangs up, that is a real baby move. But I was to the point, what do you call it, hoarse laryngitis? Like my throat still has not, I couldn't talk anymore. I gotta go. I even said it there, I go, hey, I look at people that hang up as, that's a real rat move. I gotta go. So I don't know if it is a full hang up when you're saying I have to. If you alert the guy, that just sounds like maybe more of a goodbye. But I would still maintain that if a conversation gets off course, you have to trace it back to when did it start. If you have a conversation and both are saying you're lying, it's one of these really bizarre things. And that was the thing that Ariel had done to me, and that was very unfair. I was his guest, for one. And two, there was nothing I lied about. As a matter of fact, I corrected it and made it right. Which 24 hours later, Dave Meltzer confirmed that I was right. But when Ariel is calling me a liar, the whole thing started because he lied, right? You got to trace it back. You have to trace it back to who started this. It's a very important part. It was his opening line. His opening line to me was a lie. And there's a very big difference in lying and being wrong. You can give information that is not accurate information. If you believe it to be true, or something slipped your memory, or you were never told in the first place, you might say something that is wrong. So Ariel came at me very hard. I told him something. I said, you never said that. And he did. He said, I said it 2 months ago on this show. Well, between he and I, who is more likely to know what he might have said on a show that I don't watch or listen to? The person that said it, or a person that never watched it in the first place? But he calls me a liar for that. Calls me a liar, and then he gives me what's called a receipt. He has his producer goes back and finds the clip where he did in fact say it. But you gotta understand, that would make me wrong. And Ariel is my friend. But I never spoke about it. And I never spoke about this because I thought it was an unfortunate moment. I really was unpleased with the fact that this happened. There was a point in there where he challenged me. There was a point in there where he said words that are extremely provocative, particularly in our culture. Have some balls, say it to my face, is something he said to me. That might not sound provocative to you. I don't know. Perhaps it does. It might not. In our culture, those are fighting words. Have some balls, say it to my face. Those are fighting words. And not to mention, I'm the one that just said it to you. I'm as close to your face as I can get, which happens to be this camera. I just said it to you. So, when the whole thing ends, I never spoke to you guys about it, right? I could have come right out. I'm sitting in this very studio when I did Ariel's show. I could have ended Ariel's show and came and spoke to you guys directly and made a piece that would have done exorbitant numbers. But I didn't like that it happened. I didn't know what was going on emotionally or in his personal life. I felt like that wasn't him. And people are allowed to have a bad moment, so I never spoke to him. I assumed when I was doing that he also would not speak about it. That he would not go on and capitalize. I mean, at the end of the day, I was a guest. I gave up my time. He was paid to be there. There's a way he has to treat me. I'm his guest. That isn't what happened, though. He made numerous pieces about it. And I don't know that that is bad. It won't change the fact that I love Ariel. And it won't change the fact that if there's something going on with him personally as his friend, I will be there for him. But it did surprise me that the ugliest moment that we have had together in the 20 years that we've had a relationship, it did surprise me that he continued to talk about it publicly. And within that, I have never heard an apology. I had 2 points. The competitiveness of that match exceeded expectations. The financial element to that match met expectations.
There were a couple shots that he got off while being extremely accurate, like Chael Sonnen does. So let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this situation that's going down right now. It is interesting. These guys are mega moguls within the MMA community, so it's interesting to see them butt heads. They've always been kind of a weird pair of friends in the first place. And Chael Sonnen's always been one of Ariel's truest defendants, like over the internet on a lot of topics. So, yeah, what do you think's gonna happen? How do you think it's gonna play out? And what does everybody think about this situation? Let me know. Please comment, like, and subscribe. I'm out. Yeah.